So that was my dinner for tonight. I cooked up the ground chicken, seasoned it, put it in some little lettuce cups, iceberg lettuce cups. One I tried in a red pepper, but I should have put some of the sriracha sauce on it. I think I'm going to do that next time. But overall, it was really good. It was delicious. It was filling. Again, it wasn't too heavy. I just want to be honest about this lifestyle change journey. Definitely has not been easy. And speaking as a person who has had a food addiction majority of her life, changing the way I interact with food has certainly been a process. When I get emotional, whether it's grief or depression, sadness, frustration, food has always been that comfort for me. And it has always been very unhealthy things. One day I will get more into depth as to when I believe the food addiction started and why. But acknowledging that I have had a turmoil-filled relationship with food, because it's not just about what I was eating and how I was eating, but it was also about that cycle of punishment and reward in a lot of ways. Because of course, when you celebrate, what do? What are we going to eat? When you have family gatherings, what food y'all bringing? When the punishment phase comes in, oh, you had a terrible day, I'm just gonna eat like shit. So these are all cycles. So it's not just changing how you view food, your relationship with it, how you feel about it. There's also breaking the loop, breaking the cycle, breaking the pattern. And that has not been easy, y'all. It's not been easy. I don't think anyone who has had a food addiction will tell you that it has been an easy process. And there's a lot of relapse because you have to learn how to regulate your emotions. You have to learn how to identify the triggers before you get into that binging phase. The last, few weeks, really the last, few months, I have not been in the best state of mind. I've had my days, but majority of the time, haven't been in the best place. And my space reflected that. My physical appearance reflected that. So I'm saying all of this, and I share this journey with you all just so I can go back and look at it. But also, that's not the only reason, but also because I want to share with people and let others know that you aren't the only one that feels this way. You aren't the only one that thinks this way. You aren't the only one that experiences this. Because there's nothing wrong with admitting when there's an issue. And whatever your addiction is, whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's shopping, whether it is gambling, whatever, these addictions are replacements for something. They're there for something because something has happened. We connect to these things because of, trauma. And while I have addressed the traumatic things in my life that pushed me to this point, I never changed the habit that it formed. I never addressed the habit that it formed. And part of that was because, not necessarily shame, but because I just didn't want to acknowledge that it was a problem. But now that I've come to that point and I see these things and I know these things and I'm more aware of these things and I know what triggers these binges, I know what triggers these, this desire for all of this bad stuff, I can mostly stop it before the action actually occurs. But again, it's a process and it's not perfect. And sometimes it gets very ugly. But for the most part, I'm proud of myself. And I'm proud of you too, for taking the steps to change these habits. Because at the end of the day, these things are detrimental to our health in the long run. So we have to work on changing it if we want to have a good quality of life. So I'm doing it. Today was a good day. Today I thought about ice cream and junk food. I said, I could just have a little something. And I stopped myself. I say, nope. I say, you have a pineapple in your kitchen that you haven't cut up yet. That is perfectly sweet enough for you to eat. And if you don't want that, you have frozen bananas. Frozen bananas are delicious, by the way. Especially when you freeze them when they're really brown, when they are at peak sweetness, delicious. But anyway, I digress. So I stopped myself. I recognized, I acknowledged, and I redirected. And that is a win. That is a win for today. And there'll be another win for tomorrow. And even if the day after that I fail, it's still okay. I'm still going to keep going. I'm still going to keep pushing forward. And I want you to do the same too. I don't want you to get lost in when you make a mistake or when you fall off track. I want you to acknowledge it. I want you to identify why it happened. And you try again. That's it. That's all. This is not a perfect process. And when I realized that, when I finally accepted that it's not a perfect process, and I have to do it the way I'm going to do it, the way it works for me, I started enjoying it. And it took all the pressure off, realizing that I'm going to fall more times than I'm going to succeed at first. But today was a success. And I'm proud. And I'm proud of you too. Love you. Bye.